What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I am joined by Michael Scott on my t-shirt, and we are here to discuss, in my opinion, what's been one of the most entertaining games of the NBA Finals. Now this one, as a person that wants to see the Celtics lose, obviously the outcome really impressed me. But at the end of the day, this game was full of counter punches and punches by both teams. I mean, we saw the Warriors go on long runs where they just looked unstoppable. Then we also saw the Celtics there in that third quarter dominate the Warriors. They outscored them, I believe, in the entire third quarter, but the Warriors went into the fourth quarter. They kept their composure after that Jordan Poole buzzer beater at the end of the third to give them the lead back. I believe it was 75-74 going into that fourth quarter. They kept their composure. They got it together, and even without Steph performing to the level we know he can, they came out there and they got it done in that fourth quarter, and that was a really interesting thing to see. Now, we've got a good bit of stuff to talk about today, and I want to start out, I've got a few points to make in this video, just considering how intense this game was and how big of a game it was for the series. But first, I want to point out, the refs have got to do something. I mean, we know the last few years, this whole season, obviously, a lot of really good games have been ruined by refs, and this one I wouldn't say was completely ruined. Now, obviously, a lot of those Warriors plays where they just were going to hit a shot no matter what. You can't really do anything about that. You can't blame the refs on that. The Celtics played good defense, but Klay Thompson caught fire in the fourth. Jordan Poole started playing a little better than he has, and that's one guy I want to talk about a little bit in this video. But the refs have got to do a little bit better. We saw there in that fourth quarter, the Celtics got every foul call once they drove. It almost seemed like the refs just wanted to keep it close. I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see how it goes in Game 6 in Boston. Maybe it gets a little worse, but in their defense, there was also bad calls towards the Warriors' favor. I mean, we saw Gary Payton trip over Air, and he got called a foul on for Grant Williams against him. So that's just going to be an issue in any game, in my opinion, at this point. So complaining about it or saying it changes the series isn't going to make much of a difference, but it is something you have to address at some point, in my opinion. But we'll see how long it takes them to address that. Then, second up, like I said, let's talk about Steph Curry. Now, Steph Curry has not played well this game. He did not play well this game. He has played like an MVP in the first, 4 games of the series. He's been the best player on the Warriors. Really hadn't had much offensive help behind him, and he willed them to a few of those wins, it feels like. But one guy that has been consistently good behind Steph Curry is Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins is the only other Warriors player that may steal Finals MVP from Steph Curry again. It could be another Iguodala situation. I mean, Andrew Wiggins is balling out, and I love to see it because dude came in as a number 1 overall pick. You get traded straight from Cleveland to Minnesota because they want Kevin Love. That trade looked good at the time. Now maybe not so much because we would have liked to seen how Andrew Wiggins and LeBron played together, but that's besides the point. Andrew Wiggins gets traded as the number 1 pick to Minnesota. You know, he's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders. He had some great seasons there in Minnesota, but as a team, they never really were able to accomplish much besides playoff exits with Jimmy Butler and just failure overall. He had some good averages, 20 points per game, stuff like that, but then he comes to Golden State, and it seems just like the perfect situation for him to be in. He has done great things while he's been at Golden State, and man, just a great series. We even got to hear Mark Jackson say, "Mama, there goes that man," while one of his dunks late in that fourth quarter went down. I mean, it was a great game from Andrew Wiggins. He's played amazing across these first 5 games, and that's been the X factor for the Warriors. If he had not been there, this would be a sweep by the Celtics with how bad the Warriors are playing. Now, that is out of the way. We have to talk about Steph Curry. Steph Curry had a terrible game last night. I think he was 0 for 9 from 3. He didn't make a single three-pointer. He was terrible from the field. At one point, he was like 5 for 16 from the field, and I think he finished with around 12 points. I mean, he had some nice passes. He was being really unselfish with it, but you could tell he was a little rattled, and that's odd to see in front of a home crowd in Golden State. But if you're a Celtics fan, you got to be worried about that. I mean, Steph Curry just had the worst game of the playoffs, his worst game of the playoffs, and probably the worst game of his finals career in every finals he's been in, and you guys lost the game. I mean, Klay Thompson didn't even do great. He caught a little rhythm there in that third and fourth quarter to keep him in the game until Andrew Wiggins took over, but Steph was doing bad. I mean, he was just blatantly a bad player on the court. And that fourth quarter run they had in that late third quarter comeback after the Celtics did their first counterpunch, Steph wasn't even on the court, and you lost the game. Now, you got to be worried if you lose a game where Steph Curry is off the court and he's off because he's playing so bad. Like, that's just got to worry you. I mean, I don't know what the Celtics should do to guard the rest of the players, but you've got to understand, when Steph's on the floor, they've got to put two people on him because he can catch fire. And last night he didn't, but it really affected their defensive strategy. Steph kept finding so many open shooters, people driving to the rim. I mean, just a great offensive plan by the Warriors, whether Steph was doing good or not. I mean, if he's hitting those shots, it's a different game anyways because he's making them. But he was still helping their offense, and Celtics got to figure out how to put a stop to that if they want to win this game 6 and push it to 7. I have a feeling it's going to go to 7 games just because of how this series has went so far. I mean, we've barely seen the Celtics win back or lose back-to-back games, and this is the first time they have. So it's going to be interesting to see how they bounce back because this one seemed like a gut punch. Letting the Warriors come into Boston, get Game 4, and then go back and get Game 5 in Golden State. I mean, that was a tough one to lose. Really interested to see how they bounce back from that. Jason Tatum has to put himself up a historic performance like he did last round against the Bucks. One of those 40-point games is what they need from him. He really has been very underwhelming in these finals, and in my opinion, if the Celtics won the finals right now, like if they had won last night, if it was possible, Jaylen Brown's finals MVP. Now, last night he had a worse game. He was very turnover heavy, but with the way he's played across the first 4 games, you've got to give it to Jaylen Brown if they have won last night because, man, he has been amazing for the Celtics. Tatum just seems like something's off. He seems like he's injured, maybe just a little off where he's not performing as high or as well as we know he can, and that's a little worrying if you're a Celtics fan, so I would keep an eye on that, and let's just see how he does in this Game 6. And as we all know, this is an all-or-nothing game, so the Celtics are going to be throwing everything out there at the Warriors, and I'm interested to see how they do this. They've played 3 elimination games already. They won all 3 of them. Game 6 and 7 against the Bucks, Game 7 against the Heat. They've played really well in their elimination games. I mean, they dominated both of the Bucks in our elimination games, and they pretty much dominated the Heat in that elimination game. It got close towards the end, but it wasn't close really at all. So that is going to be it for today's video. I just wanted to give you guys my views on some of the things in this game. Jordan Poole, I did say I'd talk about him a little bit, but he had an okay game. He really started showing up in that third quarter. Another buzzer beater. Just crazy to see. But he hasn't had the greatest finals, and in my opinion, it's probably just nerves. He's never been on this stage before in the NBA. He was supposed to come in as a guy that had no pressure on him, a guy that probably wasn't even going to crack the rotation, and he's played as well as he has, so you've got to understand the struggles there. So that's why I'm not holding it too accountable for him. Thank you guys for watching this video. Go ahead and comment down below how you're feeling about this next game, whether you're a fan of either of these teams or just an NBA fan in general. I'm very excited for how this Game 6 could go. Maybe the Warriors take it. I think it's going to go to 7 because the Celtics haven't lost this many games in a row, but we'll have to see what happens because it really feels like the Warriors have all the momentum in the world. Last night, the Celtics had a perfect chance to steal a game. They just couldn't get it done, and that's really going to hurt them in my opinion. How do you guys feel about Game 6? Go ahead and comment that down below. If you enjoy my channel, if you enjoy these commentary videos, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Also, make sure to check out my Jayhawks Dynasty mode. It's going to be in that corner right there. It's a very fun series that I make every Monday and Thursday, and we are currently in our 4th season, but you can go back. You can check out every video. I encourage you to. It's been a very fun series to make, and thank you guys for joining me on this journey. Thank you for joining me on that journey. See you guys next time.